My name is Margaret, and at 68 years old, I've earned every wrinkle and every ache that comes with a life well lived. My husband, Robert, is pushing 70, and together we've built a quiet existence in our cozy little bungalow on the edge of a sleepy suburb, far from the chaos of our younger days. We raised our only child, Sophia, with all the love and sacrifice parents pour into their kids: sleepless nights, scraped knees, teenage rebellions, and the triumphant send-off to college. Now, in what we thought would be our golden years, we're facing a storm we never saw coming, one that's threatening to tear our family apart. It all started innocently enough, with a phone call from Sophia about 6 months ago, her voice bubbling with excitement over her newborn son, little Oliver. But excitement turned to expectation, and now we're at odds over boundaries, babysitting, and what it means to be grandparents in a world that seems to forget we're not as spry as we once were. Robert and I had always dreamed of retirement as a time for us, gardening in the backyard, taking slow walks along the nearby lake, maybe even splurging on a cruise or two. My arthritis flares up on rainy days, making even simple tasks like buttoning a shirt a battle, and Robert's heart condition means he tires easily, his doctor sternly warning against overexertion. We love Oliver with every fiber of our beings. That chubby-cheeked bundle of joy lights up our home like nothing else. When Sophia first asked if we could watch him for a few hours while she ran errands, we jumped at the chance. "Of course, darling," I said, cradling the phone between my shoulder and ear as I stirred soup on the stove. "Bring him over any time." Robert nodded enthusiastically, his eyes twinkling at the thought of bouncing a grandbaby on his knee. Those early visits were magical, Oliver's tiny fingers wrapping around mine, his gummy smiles melting away the years. We'd sing old lullabies, the ones I'd crooned to Sophia as a child, and for a moment, it felt like we'd been given a second chance at the joys of parenthood without the full weight of responsibility. But one afternoon turned into 2, then 3 days a week. Sophia's job as a marketing consultant demanded long hours, and her husband, Alex, traveled frequently for his sales gigs. Before we knew it, our living room was cluttered with baby gear, a playpen in the corner, bottles sterilizing on the counter, and diapers stacked like firewood. "Just until I get back on my feet," Sophia promised, dropping off Oliver with a hurried kiss on his forehead. We'd nod, smiling through the exhaustion, but as the weeks blurred into months, the toll became impossible to ignore. My back would scream after hours of rocking him to sleep, and Robert's naps stretched longer, his face pale after chasing a crawler around the house. One evening, after a particularly grueling day where Oliver had a teething fit that left us both frazzled, Robert collapsed into his armchair, rubbing his chest. "Margie," he whispered, using the nickname only he calls me. "We can't keep this up. We're not spring chickens anymore." I agreed, my hands trembling as I poured us tea. We loved helping, but this wasn't occasional grandparenting. It was full-time childcare, and our bodies were waving white flags. The breaking point came last Tuesday, a day that started like any other but unraveled into a confrontation I'll never forget. Sophia arrived at dawn, Oliver in his carrier, her eyes ringed with fatigue from a late-night deadline. "Mom, Dad, I need you to watch him until 6 p.m. today. Alex is out of town again." She thrust a diaper bag at me, already halfway out the door. Robert cleared his throat, his voice steady but kind. "Sophia, honey, we need to talk about this." She paused, her keys jingling impatiently. I took a deep breath, the words I'd rehearsed in my mind tumbling out. "We're thrilled to help with Oliver, but it's becoming too much. My arthritis is acting up, and your father's not as energetic as he used to be. We love him, but we can't do this every day without some compensation, like a real sitter. Maybe we could work out a schedule, or pay us a fair rate to make it sustainable." The silence that followed was thicker than fog. Sophia's face twisted from confusion to fury, her cheeks flushing red. "Compensation? You're my parents. Grandparents are supposed to babysit for free. It's what families do." She snatched up the diaper bag, her voice rising. "You raised me, and now you don't want to help raise your grandson? You're acting like we're burdening you." Her words hit like a slap, echoing through the hallway as she stormed out, Oliver wailing in her arms. Robert and I stood there, stunned, the door slamming shut behind her. That night, the house felt emptier than ever, the silence broken only by the tick of the grandfather clock we'd inherited from my parents. I replayed the scene in my head, wondering if we'd been too harsh. Had we? Sophia texted later, a barrage of messages that poured salt in the wound. I can't believe you'd ask for money. It's like you don't want to be involved. After all we've been through as a family, this is how you repay me? You're wrong for not wanting to keep raising children. Raising children? The phrase stung deepest. We'd already raised her, sacrificed careers, skipped vacations, poured our savings into her education. Now, in our twilight years, we were expected to start over? I tossed and turned, memories flooding back. Sophia's first steps in this very living room, her high school graduation where Robert beamed like the sun, the day she announced her pregnancy and we wept with joy. But joy shouldn't come at the cost of our health. The next few days were a whirlwind of tension. Sophia went radio silent, ignoring my calls and texts apologizing for the abruptness but standing firm on our limits. Robert and I talked late into the nights, sipping chamomile tea by the fireplace. We did our part, Margie, he said, his hand warm on mine. It's her turn now. We're grandparents, not parents 2.0. I nodded, but doubt gnawed at me. Was this the end of our close-knit family? Friends shared stories of their own grandparenting woes, endless babysitting demands, guilt trips from adult kids, but none prepared me for the ache in my chest. Then on Friday, Sophia showed up unannounced, Oliver asleep in her arms. Her eyes were puffy, like she'd been crying. Mom! Dad, can we talk? We ushered her in, the air thick with unspoken regrets. She set Oliver down in his old playpen, and we sat at the kitchen table, the same one where we'd shared countless family meals. Sophia broke the ice first, her voice softer than before. I didn't realize how much I was asking. Work's been insane, and Alex, well, he's not around as much as he should be. I thought you guys would just want to do it. Tears welled up, and I reached across the table, squeezing her hand. We do want a sweetheart, but we're not young anymore. My joints ache after a full day, and your dad needs his rest. Robert chimed in, gentle as always. We're here for you, but we need boundaries. Maybe we can do 2 days a week, and you find a sitter for the rest? Or we could help pay for daycare if that's the issue. Sophia wiped her eyes, nodding slowly. I overreacted. Calling you wrong, that was unfair. I guess I panicked at the thought of doing this alone. We hugged then, a family embrace that mended some cracks but left others visible. Oliver stirred, cooing from his playpen, and for a moment, peace settled over us. But the story doesn't end there, not neatly anyway. We've started a new rhythm, limited babysitting on our terms, with Sophia pitching in for gas and groceries as a token gesture. It's not payment, exactly, but acknowledgement. Yet, I can't shake the lingering hurt from her words, the accusation that we don't want to keep raising children. It makes me question if modern families expect too much from elders, or if we've somehow failed in setting expectations earlier. Robert and I are cherishing our time with Oliver more now, savoring the giggles without the exhaustion. We've even planned a short trip to the coast, just us two, to recharge. Sophia's learning to balance motherhood with respect for our limits, and Alex has promised to cut back on travel. Still, in quiet moments, I wonder if this rift will heal fully or if it's a scar we'll carry. Looking back, this ordeal has taught me that love isn't boundless, it's about balance. We're not villains for prioritizing our health, we're human. If you're reading this, perhaps on Reddit like so many share their tales, tell me, are we the assholes for asking to be paid or setting boundaries? Or is Sophia right that grandparents should give endlessly? Either way, our story's a reminder that family bonds are fragile, tested by time and expectations. And through it all, little Oliver's smile keeps us going, a beacon in the storm we've weathered together.